Professor? What is heroism?
Good student. Heroism, by definition, means great bravery. Now, great bravery can come in many different forms, such as fighting off a mighty beast. Ooh. Doing something you're uncomfortable of. Ooh. Disrespecting social norms, such as punching someone. Yeah. Don't do that. And doing something completely unexpected and probably not beneficial, such as writing fan fiction. Let's lift the thing up a bit. Yes, fan fiction. Now, my jurisdiction is history, which is not good for fan fiction. Maybe it is, I don't know, who knows. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it to Professor Literature. Goodbye. Thank you, Professor Historius. I am Professor Literature. Now, fan fiction, right. I'm gonna tell you about Fallout Equestria by K-Cat. Now, she, as in the author, K-Cat, gains the reputation of being a hero in my eyes. See, what she wrote was a masterpiece, yet it is so bizarre. Let me tell you why. Just imagine a world. It could be any world, but it's gotta be beautiful. And then now, imagine that world marred by magical hellfire and war. A world inhabited by angels, wizards, and barbarians. Factions warring for a single strip of land. Experiments from years past destroying the lives of many. The everyday person struggling with morality and addiction, bloodlust and horror. Now, imagine them as ponies. Your perspective has now changed, and I'm here to tell you that it's not a bad thing. The author, K-Cat, is known throughout the My Little Pony fandom. Her story resonated so deeply that it sparked another fandom, a sub-fandom, dedicated solely to this story. From the very first chapter, the horrors of the world was set up, the despair it created, and not to mention how relatable it is, especially now. Warfare is always present in our world, but in our safe homes, the thought is way back in our heads, like right here. But when such atrocities happen next door, one can only think of what happens next. Then think of a world where friendship is literally magic, where rainbows and sparkles are common occurrences, and they get thrust into a battle so devastating the meaning of friendship is lost. Then, within this second chapter, the unfairness of the world is shown. The skeletons of ponies who failed to get into the shelter before the bombs fell. Immoral raiders who participate in slave trade. And casual murder in front of the previously innocent main character. After some ingenuity and know-how of technical instruments, the main character saves her fellow to-be slave, who turns on her immediately. The first time I read this, I immediately dropped the story after the second chapter. The gory depictions and mature details caught me off guard. How could this K-Cat take something as lovable as ponies and turn them into horrors? But it was this exact chapter that ruminated in my head till months later I finally picked it up again. This story, despite it being about ponies and other mythical creatures, has a scary sense of reality within it. K-Cat implements this masterfully in her writing. It gives a new perspective to the reader each time it happens, and it makes you question previous knowledge. Perhaps it is the trauma of being thrust into a world where friends die at the drop of a hat, or the withdrawal of a serious drug addiction, or even perhaps snapping from the stress of high expectations resulting in a bloodbath. The sense of morality of what is right and wrong is so blurry that the characters, main or otherwise, can be deemed a villain or a hero in a lot of the situations. My apologies, I get a bit excited when about literature, me being a professor about it anyways, yeah. So anyways, K-Cat writes with no reservations of hurting the reader, and her writing reflects that, as they are filled with moral ambiguity, harsh realities, excessive maturity, and traumatic sacrifices. The bountiful world of Equestria, rendered hostile and poisonous by nuclear fallout. A work of art like this doesn't happen often, so it's best to reserve judgment and allow your perspective to change, and maybe you'll be thankful of that change. This is why K-Cat deserves the honor of being called a hero. Her capacity of breaking the norms and giving a fresh perspective to those who look for it. Thank you. My name has been Professor Literature, and now back to you, Professor Historius. Yes. Thank you, Professor Literature, for that insightful speech. Now back to the question, what is heroism? Heroism, by definition, as I said earlier, is a great bravery. Now going back to Professor Literature, K-Cat showed this heroism by being brave and writing something that is outside the norms, outside the tropes of literature. This is what great bravery is, what heroism is.
Yes, thank you, professors. I am so confused.
Oh, it's tight. Great bravery comes in many different forms, such as writing fan fiction beyond my legs hurt. Well, young student of mine, I think you're mine. Are you mine? Who cares? Bravery. I mean, stupid throat.
Professor, what is heroism?
Well, heroism. I am Professor Literature. Go. Forget. Do it again. Cause I forgot my sweater. This is literally the worst place I've chose to record. It's so tiny. Oh, jeez. Nope. Now, the question is, I don't have a question. I don't know why I said that. Yeah. Oh. This was weird.